there was this time when everyone just wanted to rely on social media and they totally forgot about the rest of their business. And I won't stand for that. I won't do it. And I think what, for businesses who can do social ads, it's amazing. But for businesses whose social ads aren't working, it's because your business isn't working.
Before we get started today, I wanted to give a special thanks to new sponsor Hook Logistics. Hook Logistics is fulfillment without the fees, worry-free fulfillment for your custom, transparent rates for you. They are a 3PL firm that's flipping the fulfillment business on its head with a simple concept: world-class fulfillment and transparent, fair rates. On with the show. Hello and welcome to DTC Podcast. Today, we are blessed to be with Molly Borman, founder and CEO of JustNipsForAll.com, as well as the author of the book about Instagram, The Instagram Iceberg. We're really excited to chat with someone about the organic side of Instagram, as well as just starting a business the way you have. I'm really excited to hear your story. So welcome to the D2C podcast. KG is standing by here as well. Kyle, let's just say hello to everyone in the gallery panel. You're our first interview from Detroit. So that's pretty cool. The RoboCop city. We'll maybe get into that in a little bit. But welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
We're pretty good. We're hanging in there.
Good.
We're just, we launched a newsletter 12 just today, and we wrote so much for it that we actually have newsletter 13 all ready to go. So
amazing.
Now we're just relaxing.
I love it.
Why don't you start by telling us your entrepreneurial hero's journey?
Let's go. Okay, so I started out with a regular job. Before that, I wanted to be a teacher. I loved teaching. I thought that was my life's path. I graduated college. I had a teaching degree. I never taught a day in my life. I ended up getting a job doing copywriting for Ralph Lauren's website in New York City, and I moved to New York, and I was like, oh my God, I don't love fashion, but this is an incredible opportunity. Let's see where it goes. And this was 2011, when the internet was a big deal. E-commerce was chugging along, but it was not really this, like, social media was not as for business as it is today, obviously, but it's just so funny looking back when people were talking about social media in meetings, and we were like saying like, no, it doesn't really feel like it's for us. And okay, well, newsflash, it is. But it's just so crazy, especially at Ralph Lauren, which is such a historic brand, and people were so, it was so sacred. We don't want to do this new thing. And now it's like, whatever's new, we're going on TikTok tomorrow, or, yesterday even. But anyway, so I worked at Ralph Lauren for 5 years in e-commerce, where essentially my job was to do SEO optimization, though we didn't call it that at the time, for their clothing. So their polo shirts, make their polo shirts have the best possible description ever, so that people buy their polo shirt instead of the competition polo shirt. Sometimes the competition was, their own shirt from a different retailer. And, for me, looking back, having that corporate job was amazing. I loved it. I just was so fucking bored every day, and I could do the work and then I would just check out, and I felt super guilty about that. But I love paychecks. Those were so nice.
It sounds a lot like it sounds like the J. Peterman catalog, a little bit of Friends, Rachel Green mixed in there.
So I go back and forth, because like Ralph Lauren and Friends, Rachel worked there.
Yeah, of course.
But then Elaine did like exactly what I did on Seinfeld. So, some people don't like both shows, which I find weird. But usually someone at least likes one of them. And
I have to see a dance to know who you are for sure.
Okay, I'm Elaine.
That's great.
I'm Elaine. So from there, it wasn't working. It was 5 years of pretty much the same thing, and that works for some people. It was like my body wouldn't let me go to work anymore. I couldn't get to the office, even though I lived like a block away, whatever. Anyway, I left. I I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I didn't really care because I was like, I'm going to figure this out. It was 2014, maybe 14, 15-ish. My next door neighbor was a guy who told me a few years back, he has this Instagram to follow him, and we became good friends. His Instagram, you may know him as the Fat Jewish. He is a big influencer at this point. At the time, he just was a person. There was no word for influencers in back in the day. So he would have me, he and his wife would have me, they'd pay me like $500 to help with their whatever it was, and I was like, this is the greatest thing, I'm going to go down this path. And I started getting more and more clients because people really weren't doing that. So while I was at Ralph Lauren, I had all these clients and would do my Ralph Lauren work, for an hour in the morning, and then spend the rest of the day doing client work. And like, that's not okay. It's time to quit. So I did. I was going down this road of content creation when it was still fun, and events, and making a content calendar, which was like revolutionary at the time. That didn't exist. There weren't terms that we have today. And I got another dream opportunity, which was working for Barbara Corcoran of Shark Tank, which is obviously incredible, but also it was more at the time to help with her personal branding and her personal social media accounts, because she's on TV every single day with reruns, and she wanted to interact with her community just the same reason everyone else is. So I said, okay, I've never done like true celebrity work, but let's go. I fell in love with not social media, but Shark Tank and entrepreneurship, and was like, this is for me. I don't know. I don't care what I create. It doesn't matter, but I have to build something. It doesn't matter. So like they had Shopify and Squarespace and stamps.com and all these like tools and resources, MailChimp, that, now we like totally take for granted. But at the time, everything was pretty new, that it felt like I have to take advantage of this. This is, oh my God, what is this new thing that can help me, be this millionaire or trillionaire or whatever. I was so compelled, and I knew I wasn't the only one, but it just was such a unique time where it felt like limitless. You could do literally anything at all.
It's really the people you meet in those situations. Sorry to interrupt, but it's like the people that you meet in those situations, and the way that you see they are on fire, and how all of them are on fire in a similar way. To me, that's really how you know that's how I fell in love with it.
Yes. And I would watch Shark Tank. I mean, part of my job was watching every single episode of Shark Tank and live tweeting along with them as one of the sharks. And, I had to watch the show for my job, but then I was watching reruns. I was like, I should have said this, I'll say this, like I was so deep in it, but less for Barbara, more for me. I was obsessed with, building, creating, whatever it is. And I would watch these people, and I was like, hey, like what do they have that I don't? Nothing. We're the same. They're just people. I'm just a person. It's not like, oh, they got all these degrees. If anything, like they had all these degrees, and the sharks would be like, next, like you're going to try to like outsmart us. And we don't need your, savvy business school terms. We want people who are passionate about whatever it is. So, I knew every day I was going to build something. I didn't know what it was. One day I was sitting in my apartment, and I saw this, I saw a pencil with an eraser, and I was like, oh my God, this eraser is so funny. It could be a nipple. It looks like a nipple, it's like pink. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And I affixed it to my bra. I threw on a sweatshirt, and I went to go meet my friend for coffee, and she was looking at me like I was crazy. And she's like,
thinking more Rachel.
Right. I know. It goes back and forth. I told you.
Yeah.
So my friend, she was looking at me. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh my God. I forgot I had them on. I'm like, isn't this amazing? Like, I'm going to sell these. And she's like, but they're crooked and in the wrong spot. And I'm like, okay, well, just imagine if they weren't crooked, and then imagine if they're in the right spot. And then and then what do you think? And she's like, I don't know. It seems like a really terrible, terrible idea. And I'm like, great. So I'm gonna do it. And that's like all I needed. I was like, oh, all right, yeah, it's terrible. Well, you didn't say it was worse than terrible.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance.
That's
So I went to Michael's Crafts and I ordered a bunch of random shit online, like push pins, anything that sort of had like any sort of rounded edge. And I ordered nipple pasties that are typically used to do the exact opposite, which is to conceal the nipple. And I was like, this will be our base, and whatever we put on top of it we'll figure out which is the best one. I did a bunch of testing, which like me and my sister, you know, it was pretty bootleg at the time. And I would just tell friends and friends of friends, and people would ask all the time, like, how's that girl with the nipples? And my friend would be like, okay, this person asked. And I would like, you know, tinker with some hot glue and like make a pair and send them to whoever was asking. And that was it. This was not business. This was not anything other than a glorified craft. But at the same time, I was, you know, on Squarespace or, you know, making a brand for this pipe dream of, you know, a craft. And I was like, okay, cool. I believe it was like October. And I was like, I'm going to get a website. I'm going to figure this all out. And then this is going to be my holiday gift for all my friends. That was the goal. That was the business plan. The business plan was like a $200 website and some hot glue. And my Christmas gifts are going to be better. Like no one's going to have better gifts than, you know, what I'm giving this year. So you better get on my list. And that was the plan. That was my business. And I really was quite fulfilled. I was not ever thinking about growth or scale, or that was not, I don't know. I was busy. I was happy. I loved my job. I loved it. Like things were going oddly quite well.
You did have the entrepreneurial bug at this point, but you just hadn't connected yet that this could be it.
Yeah, I was, but honestly, like to me, it's so funny looking back, because to me, the best part is the creation, and all the business stuff is like hell on earth. So I was fulfilled. I was good. I had felt
that itch.
I was great. Yeah, I was great. And then I got some press. And then I got orders to the website. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like this, what, you know, what do I do? And that was when I realized like this, and I would email my customers, right? I'm like, hi, like, how did you hear about me? And why do you want this product? And are you sure I'll just refund you, because I don't really know what I'm doing. You know, it was so,
talk them out of it.
Yeah, but it was like cute. Like I don't know. It was like super like wholesome. I was like, wait, like me? Are you sure? And then after like a couple hundred orders, I was like, all right, this is real. This is unsustainable in its current form, but I'm going to take the risk and we're going to go. And I did. I still loved talking to my customers. I thought that was the best part, and asking them what they thought of the product once they got it and everything like that. And everyone gave incredible feedback. And one of the best parts to that at the time was all of these women who would say to me, like, listen, like, I don't have nipples because I have had breast cancer. I'm currently undergoing treatment. And I was like, oh my God, don't use my product yet. I ordered everything from China. I don't know if it's safe, but if this is going to be like some sort of, you know, medical device, I now have heard this enough times to know that this is the direction we're going. I am gutting my business. It's officially a business at this point. And I hired a medical engineer. We redid the whole product. Everything is made in the US and, you know, in quality controlled factories that are all medical grade. And, you know, hypoallergenic, no latex, like all these things that for my Christmas gift, you know, of Christmas 2015 didn't matter. But now it's like, okay, people's health is actually like involved in this situation. We are a new business and we're going to do it right. And that was a huge inflection point for me. And obviously at the same time in my personal life, my husband is like, good news, we're moving to Philadelphia. And I'm like, no, like, we're not going. He's like, we're 100% going. So we did. And, but it was such an interesting time because I was just doing this by myself, but we were so on to something. Like it was right there and I could feel it. And I knew we were going to blow up. We were blowing up actually. Like it was blowing up. And
how much did you need to invest? Like, I think this is a point that a lot of people find themselves in, is like when you realize, okay, I've got this idea, like when you had to do all that, make it a serious product, make it medically sound and all that, how much did you have to invest at that time to make that happen?
so I love this question because it was so tough. Obviously, and also, I worked in Shark Tank and I knew what it meant to take on money. I knew the strings attached. I knew that, maybe there's one guy over here who is a pervert, who's going to give me 50 grand, but then like, what does he want in return? And then I also knew that, and I mean, I feel like
the Canadian, you're blaming the Canadian. I know it's gotta be that. That's gotta be that one.
I feel like it needs to be said, but, that was like a big part of the situation too. But then, you have like a lot of, if I was going to go the traditional route to like fundraise and get venture capital, like who is funding a nipple company? And then if you are, and you're not a woman, like that was like something I really had to consider. Anyway, long story short, I did not take money and I still worked.
Nice.
And when I say still worked, I meant I worked for Barbara during the day, during like business hours. I was babysitting in the morning and night. I would take a kid to school and then I would pick him up from school, like, aftercare and everything. So like I was, getting up at 5 to just, make $20 an hour, which was so much money. And that was like New York babysitting prices, which is, incredible, but like a whole other thing. Like I knew that if I was going to do this and if I was going to do it right, I needed to bootstrap, but bootstrap in a way that was going to work for me. And I worked, and every cent went to the business. And I would like ask, can I babysit like your friend's kid if you don't need me? And I would figure it out. I would take on more social media jobs. I was like so overextended and over leveraged in every single aspect, but truthfully, I wasn't confident in myself to take on money, and there was the pervert issue. But taking the pervert issue out of it, I think a lot of first-time founders have this, where you're like, wait, why are you giving me money? I know I just asked, and I know, but like me, I can't do this. And there was so much doubt in the beginning, especially because the idea was a little bit out there, if you will. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna do it. And truthfully, like, I found a medical engineer who had worked in children's medical products. So making things for like babies in the NICU, right when they're born and need to go straight into, care. And he was really nice. And he's like, listen, this is my rate. And I'm like, oh, well, do you know somebody cheaper? He's like, I'll do it cheaper, but like maybe refer me. And I'm like, great, and I it's such a, that is also really dicey because, I obviously want to pay people for their work, of course. But when people believe in you and are willing to give you a discount, that's amazing. I'm not suggesting anybody rip somebody off, but if along the way people believe in your mission and are willing to help, like that is so important, because
It's
I could
essential.
never, it's essential.
For all aspects, whether you're trying to get influencers, you're trying to get
Yes.
money, you're trying to
Yes.
get people to work with you, you have to have that narrative dialed
Yes.
in order to do it. Same with building a newsletter,
Sure, of course. It's so interesting because I feel like, now I'm going to give him so much business. Anytime anyone needs an engineer, I'm like, hello, Bob, he's the best. And you can pay people back in other ways. But when you're bootstrapping, like it's just the only way. But anyway, so,
So where are you now? So where, just give me an idea of like, you made this choice, you've been hammering away on it. Like, you don't have to give figures or anything like that, but where are you now with the business?
So at this point, once we had converted, and the truth is, like, from the engineer's perspective, I gave him like the best job in the world. I designed the product. I had the vision was there. All he had to do was make it medically sound. So it wasn't this whole like prototype situation. Like we knew what we needed to do. It was pretty quick. It was like a couple weeks situation, not normal. From there, on the side of getting orders and building and hustling and blah, 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 everything else that needs to be on taxes, I was working on our Instagram, and I had built up like a couple, I don't know, maybe like 20, 30,000 followers, and things were going really well because we were nipples and we were exciting and it was new and everyone was following everybody. Yeah. Right. And it just like, it was a really special time. And I was like, wow, like followers are great. This is amazing. And I chugged along there for a while. I moved to Philadelphia. I quit working for Barbara, and Nips, I call it Nips, JustNips. Nips was doing really well. And then all of a sudden one day I woke up and we were kicked off Instagram, which was really strange because I had been super sensitive about content. I was never going to post a naked woman. I was never going to post anything other than our product, some lifestyle shots, and the silhouette of a nipple. So not the skin, but like what a nipple looks like underneath a shirt. So the imprint, it is not a real nipple. It is the appearance of a nipple underneath a shirt. And I had like gone to the gym the day before. I took a selfie wearing nips, and that got us kicked off. And I was like, that's so weird. Obviously it's a bug. It was not a bug. So I get our Instagram back. We get kicked off again a week later. I get our Instagram back. We get kicked off. Finally, we're gone. Like it's over. We violated their policies, but like we didn't. Like I'm being honest. We didn't.
No.
Nipples are sensitive. Nipples are. It's a hot button issue. It is what it is.
Yes.
Fine. With that, I was in my mind, oh my God, I'm totally fucked. The only credibility I have at this point is I like kind of build a business and it like works, but social media is my career. And I have helped at this point, maybe 15, 20 clients do what I was trying to do and do it well. Because again, this was a different time. This was in like 15, 16 when social media would work.
Organic had reach when organic
had reach. So remember those days. I don't know, some people have no idea they existed, but like we were there.
Yeah.
It worked.
Imagine 2008.
Right. Yeah, I know. Good times, memories. Yeah. So what was crazy to me, I was like, all right, well, fuck it. Business is closed. Shop is over. Because how on earth do you build a business without social media? Oh, wait. Oh my God. You do what people did before social media existed. So of course this like took months to figure out. And I was so like upset and depressed and sad because I felt it was so personal, and it was so, sensitive, right? Like and also once I, in my own mind, came to terms with the situation. Okay, we're not going to have an Instagram account. Okay, we don't have Facebook because they also took us down because that was them in the first place with Instagram. Okay, fine. We have Twitter, but like this is not, that just wasn't happening. I wasn't going to start a Twitter account. Okay, how do we build a business without social media? Let's start from the top. And I was cool with it. And then I would go to like, I would talk to founders and people in the industry of, whether the industry was like this sex product or breast cancer or entrepreneurs or female in business, whatever like industry chat I decided to attend or talk to or person I would, be in conversation with. I would tell them, oh yeah, we don't have social media. And they would look at me like I was batshit insane and be like, you're fucked. And I was like, on the inside, like, I know, oh my God, like, what am I gonna do? But on the outside, I was like, no, I swear, like, it's gonna work. And I had to sort of make myself believe that this was the case because I didn't have an option. This wasn't my choice. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Was it working without that at that stage? Was it still working? Yes. Well, there you go.
I mean, listen, I had like something quite insignificant, I think it was like at first like a 3% dip, then like overall that first year like 5%. So I was like, okay, I know my sales aren't coming from social, which is good, but I wanted to just pour money into social. Like, great. Like, the more money we have, the more money we'll spend on ads. Like, that's the dream. That, air quote dream. That's the air quote dream. That's what everybody's doing. They have hundreds of thousands. Everyone get 1 million followers. That's easy. You just spend $1 million, and then you're legitimate, and you have a business, and you're a billionaire. That's the dream that we were sold by Forbes.com and all of the trades, magazines and publications. Everyone wants that dream, and I couldn't have it. And I was very sad, but we were going to move forward. We moved forward. I wish I had numbers in front of me, because obviously that makes the story more compelling, but I don't. But anyway, I don't know. We were like, that first year I worked harder than the first year off Instagram. I worked harder than I've ever worked, and I made connections with our customers. We did, I did more outreach than ever. We got more press than ever, because I was on it. I wasn't focused on my screen. I wasn't looking for, cute captions and like asking my friends this one or this one. I was like doing the fucking work. And then I realized, oh my God, like, you don't really need an Instagram. And I've exceeded, we were like 150% what we were supposed to be. And like by the next year, by like, I don't know, May, we had already exceeded what we did the last year for the whole year. And I was like, okay, there's something to this. And I started to like, this is my new religion. And I was confident, right? Because at the beginning, I was not confident, and people would tell me I was crazy, and I was like, yeah, I know, like, we'll see how this goes. But now I'm like, no, this is fucking proven. And not only did I have one of the most like Instagram friendly products around, right? It's women, it's feminism, it's social impact with breast cancer, and it's pink, and it's girly. It's like, it hit every note and then some, yet we weren't allowed to do it. So moving forward, we didn't. And I just was screaming from the rooftops, like, everybody get off social now. Like, you're crazy if you're not. Like, you're stupid if you're not. Okay, whatever. So I took it like so extreme. And then things, people started to like see the light, and people started to come to me and, be like, can I hire you for that like thing you did when you went off social? I'm like, well, okay, but it like wasn't my choice, but like, we need to, buy more inventory. So like, sure. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, like I would so much rather like start paying myself a salary, and this is great. Yeah, like, sure. So then it got to the point where I was like spending so much of my day doing these consultings and helping other businesses focus on their email efforts, focus on community building, focus on, going local, like getting a billboard, whatever it would be that made sense for them. Obviously, I'm not suggesting like do this. I don't know your business, right?
Are those the things that you were doing? Like, what were the things that were sustaining the business during that time?
Okay, so for me, word of mouth. Listen, we're nipples. That was always going to be. But it was always going to be it. However, with social media, you think that is word of mouth, but obviously it has its limits. Okay. But word of mouth was huge, but also, grassroots community building. So we would give product, we would gift a ton of product to chemo centers and doctors and nurses, med students, anybody involved in this sphere, patients, survivors. Like, we were gifting to, you want a nipple? Here's a nipple. I don't need your story. I believe you. But if you want to give a nipple if you want to wear them, if you want to give them to a friend, and listen, our product's inexpensive, we can do that. My friend who, sells, I was just talking to her, she's like, well, we can't do that. We have, $98 bathing suits. I'm like, I totally agree. You should not do that. But for us, just getting the word out that way, social media ads at this point were so expensive, it was never going to work. Not that we were allowed to, but
so weird.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. That can't.
We'll lobby them later.
Yeah, we could, but like, I can't. So it's just like.
Seems like there's a press opportunity there. You know what I mean? You don't want to off Facebook, but there's something there.
I go back and forth. I have screenshots. I have receipts. I go back and forth.
It's a time for overturning, so consider it. It's a time for overturning.
I know,
there's
right?
A season.
Maybe it'll come up in the next debate. But I just, for me, anything, getting press. Everyone's like, who needs to hire a publicist when you can just do a Facebook ad? I'm like, okay, well, I do. Oh, and by the way, press did so much better than anything we'd ever tried. And, going back to the olden days of 2001, how would you build your business then? It's like, wait, this actually is converting incredibly well.
The
And
press, the PR,
yeah,
you mean specifically? Yeah,
oh my God, yeah.
I wanted to dial in on that a little bit because I think it's something that not enough people do. Something we're talking about on the Pilot House side, and like I bet there's no hack for it. I bet there's having a great story and pitching a bunch of people. Is that what it is?
That's what it is. I had hired, oh God, I've hired like 6 publicists. No one works better than me. It's my story. It's my business. You can send a pitch. It's not going to, I personally didn't find anybody who could sell my story as well as I could. And I stand by that. I would love to give that task to somebody else. Please, publicist, be better or equally as good as me. You can take this on because it's a lot of work, but that's the thing that I found most. So, okay, so hold on, because I will get there. Okay. I can definitely revisit that, but this is super important. So I would talk to founders and entrepreneurs at this point. They are knocking on my door. Like, I don't have enough time in the world to help everybody with this move away from social, like, phenomenon that I'm seeing. And I was like, I'm going to write a book because at this point I have, 10 companies that I've studied intensely. I'm going to just do a bunch of case studies. Like, this has to be a book so that I can, if someone asks, I say, here's my book. It's for free. Here's my book, whatever it was going to be. So I started researching, for about a year and a half, every single day, I was just researching other founders, talking to people, seeing, if they would tell me how much they were spending on Facebook ads, if they were happy. Some people were like, oh yeah, they're doing really well. And I'm like, really, what are the numbers? And they're like, oh, well, okay, they're not that good. And I'm like, I know. So I'm here to, I'm here to help you for free, not do this. Stop wasting your time. Like, it's not working. This bubble has burst. It is not working, even though you can keep pouring money into Facebook and keep getting super low returns. It's your company, but maybe don't do that. And that's how I started, the research and everything for my book, The Instagram Iceberg. So in my book, I researched, I did case studies, everything I just talked about. That was the basis. And really just, trying to explain to people that, like, hey, we all wish we could pour money into Facebook and then get like 2-3x returns on our, like, everybody wants that. Nobody is saying that isn't incredible. That's amazing. Please.
Or possible, to be fair.
Okay, so
we do it every day here at Pilot House, just so you know.
Okay. So my point is, unless you have a good foundation for your business, that's not going to work.
You're absolutely right about that.
You cannot build all these people who are like, you just throw money here. No. You need a business. You need a story. You need a compelling narrative. You need your emails to be up to speed. You need to have constant communication with your customer. You need
a delightful customer experience, right?
Yeah. You need every single thing. And it's so frustrating to me because, now everyone's like, yes, this is yes. And it's funny because then I like scared off all these people who were like, hey, like, our Facebook ads are working. I'm like, yeah, but like, your business is working too. If you take out one piece, like, you're still going to be okay. Whereas there was this time when everyone just wanted to rely on social media and they totally forgot about the rest of their business. And I won't stand for that. I won't do it. And I think what, for businesses who can do social ads, it's amazing. But for businesses whose social ads aren't working, it's because your business isn't working. It's not because, you know what I mean? It's just, you have to do the work. You cannot just have a social media strategy and hope for the best. You have to do the work. And that's my thesis. I scream that all day long on Zoom and otherwise. And
that's amazing.
So,
jump in.
So what are those foundational pieces? Like you mentioned,
Sure.
Emails. What else?
So to me, obviously, and I feel like this is like one of those catch-all buzzwords, but I guess it is, but it really, really works. Community building. Talk to your customers. Talk to the people. If you're on social, talk to these people. Actually be like, hey, like, how are you? Thank you so much for liking my page. Thank you so much. Or like, hey, like, I actually have a cat too. your cat's, whatever it is. And I obviously like that's true to your brand and blah, blah, blah. But like, to me, being authentic to who you are. And I feel like these things are all like, said all the time, but people don't actually like internalize them, and they don't want to do them because so many people want to believe the dream that social ads are the end all be all, and social ads only work when everything else is working. So it's tough. I'm sure you guys say that to clients too. Like, you can only help so much if it's an empty company.
Yeah.
If,
Whether it's better when they're pushing as hard from their side, and
right.
The best relationships are ones where we're advising each other on, you just create this really symbiotic situation. But
Sure.
you're absolutely right. We call it the halo effect, but it's,
Yeah.
you need to have all that stuff thought out, the entire life cycle of the ways you can become as sticky and as delightful as possible for people.
Every single time.
And then your ads will work better when you have that. Your ads are, you know what I mean? As you put fuel in, you'll get more and more mileage the more all of these things are.
I 100% agree. And, I always say to people when they ask me or they try to argue, I'm like, well, I did a year of research. You didn't. So.
Nice. And
I also think it's really timely because right now I think, like the social ad market is, people are flocking there. Costs are going up. A lot of DTC companies are, entering the landscape all the time. And so just to get them to start thinking, beyond the screen, I think is super valuable. You also have a chapter in your book called The DTC Landscape. And
yeah.
And I was wondering if you'd be able to paint a bit of a picture of that current DTC landscape for us.
So the best part to me, so there's never been a better time to start a company, and pandemic or not, right? Like, you have every resource at your disposal with the click of a button here, click of a button there. You can YouTube how to set up your store, like everything is available. It's amazing. Whatever you want to build, it is within reach. It is significantly cheaper than these things are facts. This is undeniable. For me, what is the most compelling thing is that all the barriers to entry are basically gone, and you can bootstrap, and that is the landscape at this particular time. And the more uncertainty in the world, to me, it's like the best time to take a big risk, because if that's all you got, you're going to give it more than if it's one of many or something like that. But as far as the landscape, I think people are realizing that, okay, hey, just because I have a dream, just because I want to be the next Casper mattress, doesn't mean I should. Because anybody can build a comfortable mattress and put their splashy logo on it and whatever. But you need now, it's not just the mattress. You need your story. You need to actually build, and you need to take a few steps back and be like, okay, there was a time where you could just like make a toothbrush, put your name on it, and sell it to 1 million people and go
because
retire.
that D2C thing, because you're not going through the traditional retail channels, you can charge a little bit less. This was we did a podcast with I keep bringing up Midday Squares from Montreal, but he said that those days are gone, right? Those days of being like you can save by going direct to customer. That's just not the way it works.
So I heard a funny quote that was like, customer acquisition cost is the new rent. So whatever you're spending in Facebook ads, like, you might as well open the store, okay? Because you're going to be, if you wanted a store, open the store, because it's going to be the same price when all is said and done. And, it's really true. And what's scary about, especially everything going online, and I find, with the pandemic, you have all of these people who are sort of new to the space who are like, oh, we're just going to move everything to Facebook ads. And to me, my biggest caution is, please don't do that, because one, if it wasn't right for you before, it's probably not right for you now. And it obviously drives the prices up for everything. I know after the election cycle, hopefully prices will come down. I think that's like a whole thing. Hopefully.
For the week before, it was just in the news that they've announced that for the week.
Right. A week before, yes, totally.
That's going to be interesting to see what happens then.
I can't wait. Halloween, okay, it's going to be great. But I really want people. My biggest piece of advice in this landscape: you can make whatever you want, but do it for the right reasons. Don't just make another mattress because you seize the opportunity. Do it because you're passionate. Do it because you care. Do it because of all the reasons you would have done it in 2001 or 1905. You know,
You're
just
solving a problem. You're solving a
oh, yes,
problem,
yes.
right?
And you know, if I took that advice myself, I might not be in this situation. But you know, I've learned that the most successful people, they're busy solving their problems because they care about their problems. They're not just getting bored when their ads stop returning, you know. And just because you can doesn't mean you should, but just because you can means you can do it in really cool ways and you can do it better than before. But it all to me goes back to intent.
Yeah. What were some ways, so back to the grassroots, like below,
Sure.
in, under the iceberg sort of playbook in a way,
Yeah.
like what were the most effective things you ever did to get, to grow your word of mouth? Was it like, did you have inserts in the packages that were all about sharing and things like that? What are some of those grassroots things?
So for me, it was listening to customer feedback. And it was also, you know, asking more about who they are. Listen, you can have a customer fill out a survey, but if you just send them an email like, hi, I know your package was delivered. I hope you got it. Sometimes they go in the mailbox, but not to this. Anyway, you know, I'm just wondering, like, when are you planning on using my fake nipples? Is it for a party, or, you know, are you, you know, whatever. And I would get the craziest responses. Like, a woman actually said to me, swear to God, I would love to show you this email if I could, that, you know, she was wearing her nipples to a meeting because she wanted to get more respect. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I've always felt that, you know, my product is all about empowerment, but I didn't know that that was so well conveyed that other, you know, it was like, oh, okay, so let's like keep going down this path. And, you know, then, you know, I found out from my customers that a lot of the customers, it wasn't the woman herself who had breast cancer buying it. It was her daughter, sister, mother, friend buying it for the woman as a gift. And so, you know, that's when we sort of, you know, went to the drawing room. We're like, okay, we need to come up with that campaign. Here's some data we have. Here's what this customer said. Here's what that customer said. And we said, okay, well, this should be part of our campaign. We should say, you know, like, give, you know, buy one, get one free, give to a friend who, you know, needs or wants this. I you know, the language is a little different. It was a couple years ago, but it was all about, you know, if somebody needs or wants this product for us, absolutely. And our return was huge. I mean, people were buying more and more and more, and, you know, but I wouldn't have gotten that idea if I hadn't spoken to customers directly. And a lot of people argue me there. A lot of people say, like, that's unprofessional, or you shouldn't spam. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. They just spent $50 on my website. Like, if they don't want to respond to my email, they don't have to. But I would say like 90% of people respond. Honestly, maybe even more. I should probably look that up. And I could definitely do like a really cute graph about that. But people respond, and to the most valuable information I got was from customers directly via email. Took, I don't know, 5 minutes of my time, and the return on that was huge. And, you know, I've never, I don't know, I don't know why people fight me on that. People, you know, because people don't want to do it. People don't want to do the work. I don't know, but
there's the CEO thing too, this founder thing, where it's like, oh, no worries. Your time can be better put elsewhere, but keeping your finger on the pulse of things is so important. But we did an interview with a JustWare's founder. You know, they've crested, you know, they're close to 8 figures or beyond, and they're still answering all those tickets, or, you know, answering all the comments on the social media to really just keep his finger on the pulse of exactly what's happening in the business.
It's so funny because I for a while was not doing, you know, in the beginning, I like thought it was really cool. I can pay like $30 a month and have someone else do fulfillment for me. So I thought that was great, you know, whatever it was. I thought that was great. Like, oh my God, I'm legit now. I'm not doing this out of my apartment. And I was so out of touch with my product, my business, my company, that I quit that and I brought it back for about 1.5 years after. And I was like, no, I'm going to fulfill. I can spend a couple hours every night doing this. It's not that big of a deal, but I know I started seeing repeat customers. I started seeing, you know, patterns. People order 2 of this and 1 of this like 8 times a day. That seems like that's, you know, something significant. Maybe that's our next bundle. And compared to looking at it at a graph at the end of the night, or, you know, looking at your data, like, no, there is a big difference between touching and feeling and actually like knowing your product, who it's going to, everything like that, that for me at least, that I got so much more value there than from looking at the end of the night, the sales reports that like, I'm tired, my eyes are glossing over, I don't care, this is just another graph. Where, I mean, that was huge. And also, you know, it's, if you're building it, like, what do you care? This is your thing anyway, like, just do it. And also with, you know, that was saving me like $30. So
So, Molly, this has been awesome. Just before our couple wrap-up questions,
sure.
I have a curiosity that I can't shake,
Yes.
and I just wanted to read a little. It's back to your origin story. I just want to read a little section from your book. You say, then I found some safety pins and affixed the erasers to my bra where my real nipples are. I pulled a sweatshirt over my head, and voila, I looked like the coolest girl in the world. And part of your value proposition seems to be like, you know, there's the medical side, but then there's also women who want that chilly nipple look.
Yes.
And I got asked, like why do some women want the chilly nipple look?
Whoa, here we go.
Okay, so I don't know, but I'm one of those people. I love it. I think it's fun. I think it's sexy. Everybody reports confidence, higher levels of confidence, and, you know, you just feel proud of your body. And there was such a movement. I mean, it seems like decades ago, but, you know, we just had such a big following coming from, and just like so many people came to our site when Hillary Clinton was running. And then actually, like, you know, after she lost and before the Women's March was just like, to me, so validating that, you know, and obviously that was 4 years ago at this point, but, you know, for me, that was like a never looking back moment, because I was like, okay, this is sort of before we were doing anything with breast cancer. I wasn't really there yet. And it was like, people just want this, and women feel empowered and sexy and, you know, in control of their lives with our product. If that's all we are, like, amen. And we're so lucky. I'm so proud that we are more than that and can help, obviously, in, you know, the breast cancer community as well. But just overall empowerment is amazing.
My armchair psychological analysis would have something to do with Freudianism, with, you know, something, you know, there's definitely some Freudian power, you know, transfer going on there.
I gotta get to the couch. I gotta go to therapy. I don't know.
Yeah, nice. Well, we have two more questions, and then we're done. I want to know, first of all, what are your plans? Like, how do you seem to, you sort of have an unconventional approach when it comes to how you built the business in a way, and you know, it's an interesting lifestyle business. It seems to be growing nicely.
Yeah.
I'm interested, like, how big do you think nipples will be?
So nipples are huge always. Like, listen, they're not going away. I did this whole case study. I know, newsflash. I did a case study a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago, I don't know, on our own, just the industry and like what's going on with nipples throughout fashion. Every 20 years or so, they come like back in the pot. So, you know, we'll be here for that. But, you know, as far as the business goes, it is in such a good place. And, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with this theory of nail polish in a recession, but, you know, nail polish sales historically in a recession are through the roof, because for women, it is a little luxury. You can pick it up at the drugstore, you can buy them there. It's not super expensive, but you feel like you're treating yourself. And so when it comes to the impending economic downturn and all this uncertainty in the world, I know that we sort of fall into that bracket of like, this is a feel good thing. It's $9.99. You are not breaking the bank. So I know, you know, I feel confident that our woman, our customer, or whoever wants it, our man, whoever you are, I know that part of the business is going to be chugging along and doing well. I know for me personally, I'm already writing my second book, and just trying to balance that, you know, is a whole thing. I care so much about these quote unquote legacy direct-to-consumer brands. Like, I could talk about Away suitcases all day long, all day, all fucking day. I could talk about Outdoor Voices all day long. I could talk about Casper mattress every second of the day. So if you ever want to talk about it,
Yeah. I want to talk about, we don't have time now, but I'd love to book another one and even talk about what Ty Lopez is doing. I see his ads all over the place now.
I care so much about this industry. And so, you know, I'm also, you know, because so many people hear about Just Nips and they're like, wait, this is, you know, what are you? What is this? And then they find out that like, oh, we're like not on social and all of these things. You know, I want to keep building in that direction as well. I want to keep helping entrepreneurs, anybody, you know, in that capacity, and also, you know, make it super affordable and accessible, because at this point, like, I have to charge for my time, and I'm not, you know, I'm expensive, you know, but I wanted to, you know, put out, you know, more books, more studies, everything like that. So, you know, everybody can, you know, get this info. Like you
Sounds
guys,
like you're gonna need to do a guest column on D2C, I think.
I know,
What's your next book?
Well, it is the Instagram Iceberg 2 post-pandemic edition. That is the working title.
Love
was
it.
trying to come up with like a whole new direction, but it just, you know, I only have so much to give. And I think the title is compelling enough. We can just stick with it and just go post-pandemic edition. Because of course my book came out April 9th, I believe. And that was like, what the fuck? Like, who launches the book in a pandemic? But like, what was I going to do?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. Like, I was like, maybe this will like go away in like a week. So we should just.
Yeah.
All right, Molly.
The story will out, right? And the story's value, it's timeless. It can be released at any time, right?
It is. But I do want to, like, you know, say to everybody who is trying something in this pandemic, I obviously give you the most credit in the world. I am so inspired by people who are starting from scratch, or, you know, just interested in this topic, because I totally get it. If you have, you know, that bug, or that itch, whatever the phrase is, like, you have to keep going. And I respect the hell out of anybody who's willing to try. And you're my hero.
Awesome, Molly. Well, it's been awesome to have you. And
Yeah, thank you
I
guys
think
so much.
what you've done is yeah, I mean, in the, you know, in the face of all of like the, you know, the slings and arrows that Facebook and Instagram is throwing you, I think it's pretty admirable. Just one last wrap up question, and that is, let's say you were given a $50,000 grant for your business. How would you distribute that money? How would you use that money?
Oh my God. Okay. So I would, obviously 10% or more is going to charity off the bat. So hopefully that's okay. I would hire the most outgoing woman ever, and I would supplement her salary, because that's not enough. And I would, you know, just say like, let's go, let's do it together. I want someone, you know, I want a co-pilot. I want, you know, and I know that's what you need. I know that isn't actually answering your question the way you want it. So if it was more money that I could give to other areas of my business that I have proven to work, I would totally invest in, you know, email marketing more than we have, like drip campaigns and all that stuff. I would totally do an ambassador program.
That would slay.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. That you should do. That you just got to do.
I just got to do. Yeah. But, you know, that's what I would do. But nice. I'd also hire a lady.
Your answer is great. Hire a lady is great. It's essentially sort of sounds a little bit like clone yourself, but that would cost more than 50 grand.
I think so.
But yeah, no, super appreciate you coming on here. This was super interesting, and we'll definitely have you back again, because I think it was just super great. So
I'm around.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, and we'll be releasing this in a few weeks, and we'll give you a ping then. It would be amazing if you can also cross promote it.
Of course.
If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to reach out?
You can call
Instagram.
Call me. Just call me. My number. If you can, I get my number.
If you're okay with it, yeah.
Yeah. Call me at 248-376-6559. I also love a text message. I love a text. So
that's the best way to do it. Let's say text first. Don't call. No, it'd be weird to call right away.
I mean, I'll eventually get back to you, but like send a text, and then you know, and then I'll tell you, like, I'll call you later.
Nice. Okay, that sounds great. Awesome. Thanks, Molly. This has been great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Molly.
Bye.
Bye.